Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. As always, I'm your host, Shaun alongside my guys, Kevin and Jaevon. Podfather, I saw you yesterday, but how are you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, I did. Shaun mentioned he had a little shindig for his party, and I want to give a shout out to Allie, who, let's just say, Allie, she makes everything possible. She's Steve Nash,
Real MVP.
LeBron. She's calling the offense. Walked in yesterday. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. I'm so and so. I'm no Shaun for Howard. Nice to meet you. Hey, want to let you know this is where you're gonna be sitting at. You need drinks, Shaun? Let's go get them drinks. We're gonna get them situated. I had Mako with me, just like, do you need us to get you like an extra chair or something like that? I just want to let you know she was out there calling the shots yesterday, and want to give her a big shout out because she made it happen yesterday. So she is LeBron in her own right. She was the point forward. She's getting rebounds. She's getting assists. She's getting to the rim at will. She's doing whatever it is possible. So big shout out to Allie. And yes, she was a real person for people who didn't think she was
real. She is real, not created by AI, as some may have assumed. Shout out to my beautiful girlfriend Allie, who is to my right now.
Shaun getting brownie points.
Yeah. She is definitely. Oh, I'm gonna play this, Jaevon. What you just said was so nice. I'm gonna play this for her later.
She's awesome. She's great for Shaun.
She's really
love this for her.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm very blessed. And you know, like you said, Jaevon, she's always running the show and in charge, and it's
coach on the floor.
Yeah,
coach on the floor. She's calling.
She's the leader. That she is, and so yeah, I'm very grateful for her, and I'm glad that you were able to meet her yesterday. Kevin, live up in Oregon, how are we doing?
You know, man, just another sad day to be a Kings fan. 30-point triple-double, Tyrese Halliburton, 20 and 11 at halftime. Just sad news. I was like, listen, you see that guy? You see those numbers? He was drafted as a Kings player.
Oh.
Just hits hard, man. You know, we're sitting around Doma saying we need a point guard, and we got our point guards in the conference finals, one game away from the NBA finals. So it was hard enough to watch him go to 2 back-to-back Eastern Conference finals, and now we're going to have to potentially watch him go to the NBA finals. So as a Kings fan, it hurts. I was this close to buying a Hallie jersey when he was a King, so I'm happy I didn't. But I know Shaun has one, so I know every time he looks at that jersey, it probably hits home a little bit worse for him.
Well, ironically, I bought that Tyrese Halliburton jersey after he got traded. I got it.
Price, huh?
Yep, discount, and I was happy to get it. I actually also got a printed photo of him as a Sacramento King when I bought that, also on discount. And the biggest reason for that is just because the impact that Tyrese Halliburton had on me during his short time as a Sacramento King. It's like I got to see him up close and personal with him playing for our team and watching him every single game. But I feel like whether or not he was drafted to the Kings, I would have become a big Tyrese Halliburton fan anyways, just because he's a great player. He's about all the right things. And also for me, on a personal childish note, he's a big WWE fan, just like me. And so, you know, I could definitely see myself being friends with Tyrese Halliburton in the real world. Probably wouldn't want to be friends with a guy like me, just some random casual. But you know, I've been a big fan of Tyrese Halliburton since he was drafted by the Kings, and I'm an even bigger fan. And so, thankfully for me, you know, I could be upset about it, as you are, Kevin, seeing him do so well and one game away from the NBA Finals. But I'm choosing to look at it in a positive way. And, you know, I'm just a fan of Tyrese Halliburton, the player. And so I'm happy for him. And if the Pacers end up making it to the NBA Finals, which they're one game away now as of about 20 minutes ago, if that happens, then on episode 146, I cannot believe 146 episodes is going to be our next one. But on episode 146 next week, it's very likely that you will see me wearing a Tyrese Halliburton Sacramento Kings jersey next week if the Pacers are able to finish it off. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Go ahead, Kevin.
Before we move on, if both of these series end up winning in 5, all of our predictions were wrong because we all thought these were going to be lengthy series. We all have 6 or 7, and if they both win in 5, we were all very far off. And unfortunately, I was the only one who chose the Knicks. I was talking to Todd about this today, so I should have just jumped in. But I wanted to be the one guy. If it all turns out I was right and you guys were wrong, but now it's looking like I'm the wrong guy. But at least I chose the Thunder, so kind of gets to help me out a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing about when you're on an island by yourself is if you're wrong, then it's like, yeah, I was wrong. It is what it is. Let's move on. But if you're right, you will not let us forget it, as that should be the case. I remember I did that during football season when the Bills actually beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and I was the only one to pick the Bills, and I was like, hey, I picked the Bills, just saying. And so yeah, that's just how it goes. And so, guys, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. With the Pacers leading the Knicks 3-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, we just saw Game 4 wrap up as the Pacers defeated the Knicks 130-121. Tyrese Halliburton with a historic stat line tonight as he put up 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. What the hell? That was just an amazing stat line, triple-double. And he did that and said after the game to Ali LaForce on TNT that he felt like he let his team down in Game 3, and that's why he felt like he really needed to come out and just go beast mode, and that's exactly what he did. And so props to Tyrese Halliburton for his performance. The Pacers lead the Knicks 3-1, but it easily could have gone the other way, and it could be tied 2-2. And on a personal note, I'm thrilled that the Pacers won, just because if they lost, then Kevin and I would have been tied atop the Stats Over Politics pick'em. I have picked the Timberwolves too many times, and it has made me lose my 4-game lead. It has now slipped down to 1. And so shout out to the Pacers for getting it back to 2 games. We'll see if I can hold on to that lead. Wire to wire, from the play-in to the finals. I got to find some wood to knock on because I feel like I'm about to jinx myself. Anyways, Jaevon, as someone else who also picked the Pacers to win this series, just what are your thoughts? Because when we last left off last Thursday, only 1 game had been played. It was the ultimate choke game where Tyrese Halliburton did the Reggie Miller choke signature celebration. And since then, the Pacers have won 2 out of 3 games, and they now lead 3-1. So just what are your thoughts overall on the last 3 games that we've seen?
I honestly think the series should be over. The last game that the Pacers lost, they were up 20 points. And that's just been the theme of this entire playoffs. Teams are blowing 20-point leads. It doesn't matter if you're up 20, if you're up 30, no lead is safe. As far as for Halliburton in this particular game, a historic stat line, as Shaun already mentioned, I feel like he was just doing a little bit of everything. In the beginning, in the first half, I believe he ended with 20 points and 0 assists. I think he had 9 rebounds. He was pretty adamant. You could tell he was kind of pressing a little bit early on in the game and just kind of getting other guys involved. And Pascal Siakam has been money for this team. And I think that kind of goes a little bit unnoticed. He's been their kind of go-to scorer for the most part. And kind of for them, I think if they're going to be able to win consistently, Siakam has to be going at all point in time. And we look at other guys like Nesmith, guys like Nembhard. Tonight, we saw that I'm blanking on the guys. He was hurt last year out of Arizona.
Yeah, Big Mathurin.
There we go. Mathurin. He got going. I think he scored 10 points in 6 minutes, which was kind of crazy.
20 points in 12 minutes.
20 points in 12 minutes. So he wasn't really in the last couple of games, he wasn't really playing well. And then kind of for him to come in today and 20 points in 12 minutes, I mean, he played outstanding. So I think for a consistent, and we even saw Obi Toppin hit that clutch 3 to kind of seal the game. He can get going. And I think it kind of just goes back to how deep the Pacer team is. And the Knicks, we kind of saw, and Anunoby was hurt, and we saw Karl Anthony Towns, who was probably going to be questionable for that Game 5 on Thursday. He didn't look too well, and I think to start the game, he was kind of favoring that knee. So this has been the theme for the past couple of years for the Knicks. They play all their starters. They're going to ride till the wheels fall off. And the wheels indeed do fall off at the worst possible time. And this time it's in the playoffs again. And it just so happens to be two of their key players. So we'll see if the Knicks are going to be able to get healthy in a day, travel, get healthy in a day. And can the Knicks or can the Pacers close it out in 5 games? And I think it's very possible. Curious to see what the line's going to be when that game comes.
Well, Kevin, given everything that Jaevon just spoke about and the odds that are currently against the New York Knicks, considering that you're the only one who picked the Knicks to win this series, do you think that there's any chance that they come back from down 3-1 and win the next 3 straight?
Win the next three straight, excuse me. I don't think so. All role players play better at home. So I'm assuming they'll get the next game. We saw with the Boston Celtics last series, when they were dead to rights, they went back home and they got one more. Playing on your home court, you get that momentum. You're sleeping in your own bed. You're expecting them guys to play better. But like Toddy said, we've been saying the same narrative with the Knicks all season. They're going to roll their 5 guys and they're going to ride them to the wheels fall off. And for them to lose these close games, tonight they lost by 9. It all comes down to the bench players. I know I always come on here and say, yes, there's the superstars, but it always comes down to the other guys. Today was the prime example. Benedict Mathurin has been playing awful this series. Tonight, Andrew Nembhard has an off night. Benedict Mathurin picks it up 12 minutes with 20 points. The Knicks had 9 bench points to the Pacers 36. That's the ball game. No matter how well your starters play, you have to have some kind of reliance. With them starting Mitchell Robinson, bringing Josh Hart off the bench has really made some things look funky with that offense. Cat used to be the biggest guy on the court for the Knicks, and now we have Mitch Robinson on there. You can definitely see it. But Cat's been getting off to a slow start. We saw in Game 3 he had 4 points going into the fourth quarter, and then he finished with 20 points in the fourth quarter. So we saw that when Cat is the main big man on the court, he's able to get to his spots and be very dominant. Toddy said it perfectly. Pascal Siakam. I was talking to Alex on the phone at halftime and saying, Pascal Siakam, when he has a guy like a Kawhi Leonard, like a Tyrese Halliburton, like a guy who's going to run the show, he's going to be amazing because he might not be your second best player. He might be your third best player, but there's nights like this game and last game, 30-plus points, where he can be your second best player. We saw when he played alongside a guy like DeMar DeRozan for so long, they could never get over that hump. Yes, I get it. It's LeBron James, but they couldn't get over that hump because maybe DeMar wasn't that guy, or maybe Pascal just wasn't into the guy he is now. But when he's playing a guy we saw with Kawhi Leonard, he was an all-star. He was able to win the finals. And then this year, they're 1 game away from the finals. And we've seen Pascal Siakam really flourish off of Tyrese Halliburton. And in the first round of the series, when they played who did they play first round? The Bucks. I came on here and gave Tyrese Halliburton all this love, and Shaun was like, Kevin, are you saying they're going to go all the way, or you just getting the love for this series? And I was like, Shaun, there's no way. This team goes as far as Tyrese Halliburton goes. And like Toddy said it, Shaun said it. 32 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, had 20 and 11 at halftime. And I promise you, if somebody would have leaked that his dad was coming to the game, I would have bet on everything. If I would have known he was going to be there, there would have been a lot of money to be made.
They announced it yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say, you must have been sleeping on under a rock because
I was at work all day, so when I got home, the game already started. So I missed it. I didn't see anything on that.
Well, yeah, Shams broke the news about it yesterday. I think it was yesterday because
he got to be courtside. They put him in a suite.
Shams started the tweet. I think he literally started it by saying "Pops free," and then the actual news.
Free pops goes backwards.
Yeah, and so he has officially been freed. And the Pacers are a lot smarter about it too. Like they've already started to employ what the NBA does during the finals, where they rope off the court immediately the second that the game ends. Because I saw after Tyrese did his post-game interview tonight with TNT, is he went off to where his dad used to sit next to his mom and next to his girlfriend, or I think that's still his girlfriend. I don't know, fiance. Jada. Anyways, his lady and his mom were in those same spots, but they had to stay behind the line and had to stay behind the rope And you could, considering, I mean, it is the Eastern Conference Finals at this point. It's not like it's the first round, but you could basically call that the John Halliburton rope. That's out there because of Mr. Halliburton. But my favorite part of all of it was Tyrese's dad, John, was in his suite, and then after the game was over, he was holding up that same Tyrese towel that he was holding up straight in Giannis's face. He was holding it up in his suite, and so I just thought that was poetic. And
who do you think gets Eastern Conference Player?
What do you mean? Who do you think?
Come on,
Eastern
Toddy.
Conference Finals.
Pascal had 2 good games.
It's Tyrese. It's got to be Tyrese.
It's not even a debate, Toddy.
So we're all agreeing that the Pacers are going to win. Got you.
Yes.
Well, I mean, hey, Jerry West won a Finals MVP when he lost, so they might give it to Jalen Brunson.
I mean, LeBron should have won in 2015.
I've never been a fan of that, though. If you lose, you can't win.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is a lot. And you average 36. And the guy who won it was the LeBron star.
Yeah, right.
Jalen Brunson's doing his thing, man, but he has to score 50 for them to win. And it's sad to see. And like Toddy said, I hope Cat gets to play next game. I know they're going to shoot him up, and he's going to give him all. Toddy, I mentioned your Celtics when you were gone. I think they'll bounce back next game. When your back's against the wall and you're in your home court, you're going to get that one. But eventually, and it sells more tickets when you go back and you celebrate with your home crowd. But Tyrese Halliburton celebrating the Mecca. I know your boy Trae Young used to be that guy who was hated in New York, but I think it's going to be Tyrese now. I think Tyrese is.
It might be Tyrese now.
I mean, it's definitely Tyrese because the Pacers
they haven't had one Tyrese chance yet.
Yeah, that's a fact. But it may be coming soon because the Pacers knocked the Knicks out of the playoffs last year, and then that's kind of what set up the whole WWE angle back in June at Madison Square Garden, where Tyrese and Jalen went face to face, and Jalen's coming into the ring with a steel chair and messing up his wrist and hand that he had previously injured. And
Tyrese has to pull up to Madison Square Garden with a steel chair. He just has to do it. That would be so funny, bro.
That would be legendary. That'd be pretty funny.
Oh man, and then have the 317 shirt on. Oh my goodness, that'd be hilarious.
And so the craziest part about that is when I first saw the merch of Tyrese 317, I thought they just added one onto the Stone Cold John 316 phrase, but I actually looked it up. The area code in Indianapolis is 317. And so that makes so much more sense because I thought that they were just like, oh, make it his own. Don't do 316, put 317. No, now it makes way more sense and it's even cooler. And so shout out to Tyrese, shout out to WWE, shout out to everyone capitalizing on this run by the Pacers. And before we keep things moving here on episode 145 of Stats Over Politics, just wanted to highlight a comment on our YouTube page, which you can find us at Stats Over Politics. So make sure to check us out so then you can tune in live or see all the great content that Kevin's putting out there after our live recordings. But I want to give a shout out to Smooth, a.k.a. Dad Dent. He says, my team is going to win it all. Kevin, who's his team? I thought, is it not the Kings?
He's a Thunder fan. So way back when, he's never had an NBA team. So way back when, maybe like the year they lost to the Heat, we were like, dude, you got to pick a team. Like, you can't not have a team. He's like, you know what? The Thunder just lost. I'm going to pick the Thunder. And years down the line, now they're back on top. And now he gets to foreclaim that he is a Thunder fan. And unfortunately, I was the one who peer pressured him to make a decision. And he made the decision, and now he's a Thunder fan. But, as a Niner fan, I'm happy that he gets to get some kind of, joy in his life.
Always.
All roads lead back.
All roads lead back to Santa Clara and hating on the Niners. And, I feel the same way, Smooth, with all the laughing emojis. And so now moving on to the best coast, a.k.a. the West Coast, the Thunder lead the Timberwolves 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. And Jaevon and I, we were both rooting for the Timberwolves last night as the game was going on at my little birthday shindig at Round Table Pizza. And Jaevon, do you remember what I said to you like right after tip-off in regard to the game? It's okay if you don't, but I have to bring it up to start. Okay, so the thing that I said is I'm rooting for the Timberwolves. I want to see the Timberwolves win, but I have a sneaky feeling that OKC is going to win tonight. And that was after I had already picked the Timberwolves to win. I was wrong on the pick 'em. That's what made me lose my lead against Kevin. But I had a sneaky suspicion that OKC was going to somehow win that game. And they won by the skin of their teeth. I don't have the score right in front of me, but I believe it was 128 to 126. And so OKC wins. They get a commanding 3-1 lead. That's, of course, after the Timberwolves won Game 3 back in Minnesota. They absolutely throttled the Thunder by over 40 points in that Game 3, but it ultimately didn't matter because you can win by 40-plus points, but it doesn't carry over to the next game. And so the Timberwolves now find themselves in a 3-1 deficit. And before we get into this, I just wanted to mention something crazy that I saw today. And this all credit goes to Reddit user Budum. I don't know, Budum, Budum. It's a dumb name, whatever. Give credit where it's due. So I'll try to read this as quickly as I can. Sam Presti is a magician. In 2007, the Seattle Supersonics traded Rashard Lewis to the Magic. In return, Presti got a trade exception, nothing too wild. 18 years later, he turned that trade exception into Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, a championship core, and a treasure trove of draft picks, as tweeted by Clutch Points. So if you take a look at the wild trade from Presti, 2007, he does a sign and trade for Rashard Lewis for a trade exception. He traded that trade exception to the Suns for Kurt Thomas and 2 first-round picks. One of those picks became Serge Ibaka. Ibaka was traded for Victor Oladipo, Ersan Ilyasova, and the draft rights to Domantas Sabonis. Then they traded Oladipo and Sabonis for Paul George. Then they traded Paul George for SGA, Danilo Gallinari, 5 first-rounders, and 2 pick swaps.
I can't believe Paul George went for 5 first-rounders.
I still can't believe that Rudy Gobert went for as many picks as he did. But,
or Mikal Bridges, crazy. We've seen crazy trades.
We have. And so those picks from the PG-13 deal have been used or traded for Jalen Williams, Cason Wallace, and others. So in summary, Sam Presti turned a 2007 sign and trade for a departing Rashard Lewis into SGA and a championship core. That's why the Thunder went from having arguably the best young core in basketball 15 years ago. 13 years ago, they went on an NBA Finals trip, and if they went a year earlier, they probably would have beat the Heatles just like the Mavericks did. But instead, they caught LeBron and the Heat. I see that look on your face, Kevin, and I see the stank face, but we saw Dirk basically by himself with old Jason Kidd.
Magical run.
Yeah, it was a magical run because that magical run included beating Kobe and beating the Thunder.
And the Thunder.
Yeah, exactly. And so, give credit where it's due. Regardless, the Thunder made it to the NBA Finals, lost, traded one of those best players, and ultimately they did not get back. And so that's the craziest part about it is that they did a total reset, and now here they are with one of the best young cores in basketball that could be sustainable for the next 10 to 15 years. And it's painful for me to just talk about that because I think about it from my perspective as a Sacramento Kings fan. Because, as Kings fans, I mean, Kevin, this past season, all you were saying is blow it up. Let's restart now. Why wait longer? Blow it up. And it's I'm always hesitant because the Kings never execute it. If we had a Sam Presti, then I would be yeah, blow it up. We'll be great in 5 years. But instead, the Kings are the Kings. Anyways, I had to read that crazy thread because I never thought a sign-and trade exception for Rashard Lewis would lead to the core that they have right now. But that's the magic of Sam Presti as the Thunder lead the Timberwolves 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Kevin, you picked the Thunder to win this series. And so what are your thoughts on these last 3 games since we saw the Thunder go up 1-0?
There will no longer be any Ant-Man face of the NBA talks. There will no longer be Ant-Man as the next Michael Jordan. All that shit's out the window. For him to have 2 points at half just goes to show that he's really not that guy. It's easy, like I said, when your back's against the wall, you're in front of your home fans, you go for a 35 ball. Congratulations. We're arguably seeing the best defensive team we've ever seen on a finals run. The way they're able to dismantle this team, and tell and Julius, everyone else is going to have to beat us. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to have to go for 20 plus. Dante DiVincenzo is going to have to give you 15. Naz Reid is going to have to give you double digits. It's going to have to come down to the other guys because we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that you don't beat us. And he said it in the presser, like, I don't think I played bad. I didn't take enough shots to struggle, but I was just making the right play. And you know what? Making the right play worked. They lost by 2. And like I said, Jaden Daniels had 20-plus points. So the other guys were doing really well off those open shots. But the Thunder's game plan was through and through. Everyone not named Anthony Edwards is going to beat us. Julius Randle, I feel so bad for the man. He's a day late and $1 short. Every other day, he's good. But the other days, he's really bad. There's been 2 games where they've been single digits and they've lost. So it sucks because they led in all these categories and they've still found a way to lose that game. But, this arguably, Shai might be the best. If the Thunder are able to win the NBA Finals, Shai is the best player to ever wear a Thunder's jersey. This big 3, I mean, Kevin Durant never did it. James Harden never did it. Russell Westbrook never did it. They all share 1 award, and that's the MVP. Only one of them would have a finals ring. So it's not really crazy to say. When Kendrick Perkins said it on Monday, I was like, yeah. But I was like, when you think about it, specifically just as Thunder players.
That's you, Kevin?
Just as Thunder players, it's not a crazy take. If they're able to win it all, it's not crazy to say he's the best Pacers player ever. But I also saw another thing on Twitter saying whoever wins this finals, the best player becomes the best player in franchise history. The Knicks, I was like, Jalen Brunson, I don't know. The Knicks have a great history. But if the Pacers win, you can say Tyrese Halliburton is the best Pacer to ever touch the ball.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, but Tony, you're looking at it as a career. As a Pacers player, it's not bad to say. Shaun, you're muted. Reggie never won a ring. Reggie choked himself and they ain't win another game after that.
Yeah, but what I was saying while I was muted is that, like, Reggie played his entire career for the Pacers. Yeah, he may not have gotten a ring, and I understand the gravity that a ring provides to an overall argument. That's why Charles Barkley is always disregarded. Even though he's one of the greatest power forwards of all time, he's never in that top 5 discussion for most people because he doesn't have a ring, like a KG, like a Tim Duncan, like a Dirk, so on and so forth. And so I understand the overall point. And this is coming from a huge Tyrese Halliburton fan, obviously. Even if he wins a ring this season, I don't feel like you can say that he's the greatest Pacer of all time right now. Maybe by the time he retires or even 5 years from now. But I don't know if you could say that right now definitively.
But the fact that the conversation with 1 ring and Tyrese has probably another decade to go says a lot.
Yeah, it does say a lot. And so back to the West, Jaevon, the Thunder lead the Timberwolves 3-1. And so is this series over?
Wes, I want you to look me in my eyes. It's over. I'm sorry.
Oh,
they're shot. Timberwolves are shot. I mean, Thunder are throwing everything, the whole kitchen sink at Anthony Edwards. They can't do shit when he's not going. Like Kevin mentioned, yeah. All right, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Terrence Shannon, I think he went out early in this game. He had a big game. What was it, 3? The game before. He had a really big game 3, and that was kind of like their spark plug. They won by 40. Okay, right on. Ant had a great game. Julius was shooting well. Everybody was playing good. Game 3 came along. Okay, you know what's crazy? OKC will get blown the fuck out. Like in the Denver series, they got blown out by like 30, 40 points, came back, won the next game. This series, they got blown out by 40 points, came back, won the next game.
They're 15-3 on the season after a loss.
So it's kind of like it doesn't matter how bad that they lose or the margin of victory for the other team when it's against OKC. They'll always come back and make adjustments. I'll always give Dagnall that respect. The OKC Big 3 combined for 95 points. Shea had
all
Shea
she
had
wrote.
40. J-Dub had 34.
34.
Chet had 21. Chet's been playing a little bit better. J-Dub is giving you 34 in a game. I don't see nobody beating OKC. You get – because I already know Shea's getting 30. J-Dub's going to get you 30. Oh, man. you could go ahead and mail that thing on down. Kevin's mentioned Shea being the best Thunder player ever.
If he wins a ring, you can't just say get full confidence.
Yeah, if he does win a ring, is he the best Thunder ever? That's gonna be tough because there's a couple of MVPs. Now I understand.
He's got his own.
He's got his own. They all got one. There's not one on the list with two.
Yeah,
and James Harden didn't win the MVP in Oklahoma City. So
and Toddy, one other thing I want to add. One other thing I want to add too is like I feel like Shea being the greatest Thunder of all time is a lot closer than Halliburton being the greatest Pacer of all time.
Does Shea get a statue if they win?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the thing that we were talking about a lot,
the whole shebang.
I think so. And Russ should get a statue. KD should get a statue. James probably won't. Serge Ibaka is more likely to get a statue than
he's Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. He's Ring of Honor, just like Nick Collison. That's another Ring of Honor guy. The guy who never left. But to the point though, is that last week we were talking about how this Final Four is so awesome because only the Knicks have ever won a championship in their franchise, and the most recent championship was back in 1973. Obviously, the Oklahoma City Thunder, formerly known as the Seattle Supersonics, they won the championship back in 1979. But as far as the Thunder franchise, they've never won a championship. Neither have the Pacers or the Timberwolves. And so if Shea is able to secure the first championship in Thunder history, or even the first title in 36 years for the Sonics/Thunder franchise, I think you could make a legitimate argument that he's the greatest Thunder player of all time.
This is the new generation of all of the new players. Like this is from the LeBron, Steph and LeBron. How many times they play against each other in the finals? I mean, LeBron went to 10 straight.
It was 4, right?
LeBron went to 10 straight, so they played at least 4 or 5 times. They carried the NBA for like a solid 5 years. And then now it's kind of that's been dead for a while now. But I mean, they've individually been, kind of still been able to keep at it. But now it's kind of like there's the Ants, there's the Tatums, there's the Sheas, the Jokic's, there's the Halliburtons now.
The Jaylen Browns.
Okay, right on. You see the shift, and these are all of the young guys now, and this OKC team seems to be leading that charge as of right now, today, currently, because it seems like they're the most dominant team. And you're wondering who is kind of going to be the next dynasty. Because I was talking to Kevin about OKC, and I was like, I saw Gilbert Arenas say on one of his podcasts, he said that they have a team that they can't afford. And I was looking at it as, okay, Shea's going to get 400. That second max contract probably is going to go to J-Dub due to Chet being injured in a period of time during his rookie contract, kind of missing a year, not really been able to get out on the court as much. J-Dub made an all-NBA team, so he's going to be eligible for a type of supermax.
Yep.
So
you just read my mind.
The money is going to start to get a little bit more crazy because you may be able to afford Chet on a more team-friendly deal because he didn't make an all-NBA team versus J-Dub is making an all-NBA team. Shea's winning MVP, so they're throwing empty checks at him. So
Mako's throwing the money too.
Yeah, he's trying to get in on it. So I think it's gonna get tricky coming down to it because when all of their guys are up for contracts and it has to come down to who would you rather keep if you had to pick one, It's
not
gonna
in
be
the conversation.
And now I'm starting to look at it a little bit like J-Dub is probably going to be the guy that they would pick when it comes down to it. But I think they want to try and keep that core together. I mean, 95 points combined last night, it was insane. And they're all under, 27, I would want to say. So camaraderie's there. You're going to see that this team is going to – a lot of the money is going to revolve around those three players. And we'll see how long it is for years to come going forward.
Who knows? I mean, if the Thunder can't pay J-Dub what he feels that he deserves, maybe he'll just go play with his brother Cody somewhere. Probably not in Utah. I don't know if he would want to go to Utah, even though.
Hey, come party the 916.
Hey, I like that. I know Cody Williams was like a prospect that the Kings were targeting out of Colorado, and then the Jazz got him. Now he's playing with my guy, the finisher, Lauri Markkanen, up in Utah. And so as we keep things moving here on episode number 145 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent and Jaevon and Mako Toddy. As we keep things moving, Kevin, I just wanted to highlight a couple of more comments from our YouTube audience as Smooth says someone called that magical Dirk run at the start of the season. So I guess, Kevin, that your dad is claiming that he called out that Dirk run. And, hey, so credit to him.
At the beginning of every season, I ask him who he's going to pick because of this, because I asked him that year, and he said the Mavericks, and I laughed in his face. And then they beat LeBron James, and he sat me down and said, "You remember this conversation?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So now, at the beginning of every season, I ask and I write it down. He hasn't been right since, but now that his team's up there, he's going to have some bragging rights.
Yeah, exactly. And, that is a hell of a prediction right there. It kind of goes along the same lines of, as we were talking about earlier, with you being the only one to pick the Knicks. It's like, if you're right, you're never going to let people forget. But if you're wrong, it goes away. Move on to the next. And Smooth also says, no, give him a plaque. He's probably referring to when I mentioned Nick Collison, the guy who never left the end of the Supersonics / Thunder bench. And as Smooth also says, in regard to the money issue going on in OKC, it'll be a problem like Boston has.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Jaylen Brown's a multi-time All-Star, multi-time All-NBA. Jalen Williams just got his first one. And he'll be up for a rookie extension next year. So if he was to have gotten, maybe another All-NBA or another All-Defensive team, maybe. But it's going to be able to work out. They're going to be able to keep all three of them. Unfortunately, Chet's never going to be healthy enough to win an award. And that honestly plays in their favor because Chet would have been on pace to make an All-Defensive team, maybe even an All-Star. We've seen the number one seed get 3 All-Stars. And we saw this year with Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Donovan Mitchell. So when you're winning and you have a lot of guys contributing, they might get 3 guys in there. We've seen it with the Heat, we've seen it with the Celtics. But as of right now, I don't see them having any money problems. And unfortunately, guys like Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, those guys will have to go. The Alex Carusos, the Hartensteins. But right now, they're in a really good situation. Boston kind of just came up at the wrong time because Jason Tatum's been a 4-time All-NBA guy, and over that 4-year span, Jaylen Brown's becoming his own guy. So that's kind of where their money problems have come from.
Yeah, that is a good point. And so now it is time. Jaevon, you return just in time to try and maintain your lead when it comes to Shaun's pop quiz. Last week was just the regular NBA edition. This week I got 2 questions for you guys, and it is NBA Legends edition. And so earlier we were talking about how tonight, Tuesday night, Tyrese Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists.
I just saw this shit.
Damn.
They showed it on the broadcast. This came directly from the broadcast. So Tyrese tonight put up 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. He became the 3rd player all time to drop at least 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds in a playoff game. Who are the other 2 players? So I'll repeat it one more time. Jaevon, I see you jumping in first. So Tyrese had 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds tonight. He became the 3rd player all time in the playoffs to record at least 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds. Jaevon, Toddy, Who is one of those other two players?
Magic Johnson, one of them.
That is incorrect, but that's a good guess. Now to you, Kevin, and
It's
just for the audio
assists
only.
that really make you wonder. Like, that's a lot of dimes.
And I will add before we get your guess, Kevin, that right now on the scoreboard. Hey, happy birthday, T!
Thank you.
Happy birthday, my mother.
T's in the house. I had to come say hi to my baby.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm 21 all over again.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, there you go. That's
Can't
awesome.
nobody tell me nothing.
Right, exactly. That's
Sorry to
awesome.
interrupt.
No, you're good. Maybe you'll be able to help Jaevon
I'm
out
gonna
with
guy in
this
charge.
pop quiz.
All right, what was it? What was
right,
the hint you about to give us, Shaun?
Good to see you, T. Happy birthday. For the audio only listeners, Jaevon's mom Tracy just popped in, and it was good to see her. And so what all I was gonna say is that the current scoreboard right now is Jaevon has 18 and Kevin has 17, and so Kevin is nipping at your heels, Jaevon. But Jaevon just had a guess, and so Kevin, the question is in regard to Tyrese Halliburton's stat line. He became the third player in playoff history to record at least 30 points, 15 assists, 10 rebounds. Who are the other two players?
Joker?
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. Nikola Jokic is one of those guys. So Kevin gets a point. He's now at 18. The score is tied with 6 episodes remaining in season 3 of Shaun's Pop Quiz. So Jaevon, back to you. There's one other guy that's done it other than Tyrese Halliburton and Nikola Jokic. I'm going to let one more round of guesses pass before I give a crucial hint. But Jaevon, do you have a guess on who else has recorded at least 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds?
LeBron James.
That is incorrect, but you probably just stole Kevin's next guess. So Kevin, I'm
literally.
I'm interested to hear who you got.
All right. Well, if it's not LeBron, 15 assists, like. That's just. It is someone we know, yeah. This is somebody we know.
Yes, it's definitely someone you know. It's an NBA Hall of Famer, and I'm going to give you a little. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of hints here because the hint I just thought of is going to give it away, and it's coming up after this guess. And so,
let's throw out 30 points. Jason Kidd ain't never scored. Oh, Steve. Fuck it. Steve Nash. I know he didn't get the rebounds, but I know.
No, that is incorrect. So. The final hint, think triple doubles.
Russell Westbrook.
That is incorrect. Jaevon, do you have
Oscar Robertson.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. The other triple-double master, Oscar Robertson, the Big O. So Nikola Jokic, Tyrese Halliburton, and Oscar Robertson. That's the conversation Tyrese Halliburton put himself in tonight, which is absolutely crazy. So Jaevon now has 19. Kevin has 18. So now we'll get to our. Right.
It was the big.
So our other
when
question.
in doubt, just guess LeBron.
Right.
Literally.
Exactly. So our other question for this week's Shaun's Pop Quiz, NBA Legends Edition, is in regard to Draymond Green, because this past week we saw the all defensive teams come out. Draymond Green is the 5th player in NBA history to be a 9-time all defensive selection and have a Defensive Player of the Year award. So Draymond's made the all defense team 9 times. He also has a Defensive Player of the Year award. Who are the other 4 players who have done that?
So it's my turn since he got the one right, yeah?
Yep.
Ben Wallace?
That is incorrect, but that's an excellent guess.
I don't think you ever won a DP
Can you please repeat the question, Shaun?
So Draymond Green became the 5th player in NBA history to have at least 9 all-defense selections and a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Rudy Gobert.
Who? Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. Rudy Gobert is one of those 5. So Draymond, Rudy Gobert. And so Jaevon gets a point. He's up to 20. Kevin, what did you just say?
Tony Allen?
No, that is incorrect, but another good guess. All right, Jaevon, back to you. There's 3 other guys who have done it. Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. Jaevon is on a roll. All right, we got 2 more answers to this question. So,
Fuck, did Dwight
Garrett-
win a DPOY?
yes, Dwight is a 3-time DPOY.
Okay, so Dwight Howard.
Sorry, that is incorrect.
Kevin sucks.
Why'd you answer my question, Sean? It was gonna be wrong. You baited me into that.
See, that's I know. I realized it right when I answered the question, and so I that's what I was about to say is like he's a 3-time, but just don't factor that in. Sorry, Kevin. So right now we've named 3 out of the 5 with Gary Payton, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green. All have made the All Defensive Team 9 times and have a Defensive Player of the Year award. There's 2 other guys who have done it. They're both Hall of Famers.
Oh, Giannis?
Nope, that is incorrect, but another good guess. All right,
Can we get
Kevin,
a
back
hint
to
on
you.
the position that they play? Are they big men?
One's a big man, one's a guard.
Oh, I got
Both of these guys are.
I don't know. I know they get the award. I know they get the all defense. I don't know if they get DPOY. So I'm gonna take another shot in the dark. Michael Jordan.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. Michael
Yes,
Jordan. And Smooth was on it. He said MJ. And so Kevin gets a point. Kevin, you're now at 19. Toddy's at 21.
I got the last one.
Man.
All right. Jaevon.
Oh,
It's a
Kevin,
big
you're
man.
so dumb. I know this.
And for the audio only listeners, what does that finger wag mean?
Mutombo.
Rest in peace, Mutombo. That is incorrect.
What?
Is it Shaq?
It is not Shaq. Do you guys give up?
No.
All
Bill
right.
Russell.
Tim
Nope,
Duncan.
that is it.
Oh.
Both of those are incorrect, but Jaevon, you're getting closer with that Bill Russell guess.
Luke Walton?
No,
Not Luke Walton.
Kevin McHale?
no, but you're getting closer.
Robert Parrish. Larry
No.
Bird.
No, you are on the right track.
Jeez.
We got about 30 more seconds left in this segment.
So the TV was obviously black and white.
It was obviously
No,
I'm
the team
Googling.
that.
JT,
All right,
no,
let
he
me-
didn't win an DPOY.
All right, so I'm gonna give away this hint, and you guys are gonna get it once I give away this hint. I'm gonna try my best to just listen to whose voice I hear say it first. All right, so are we gonna do the hand, or are we gonna shout it out?
We can shout it
got
out.
All right, because I need to know for the rules to be specific.
Wait, am I still ahead of Kevin by 2?
Yes, you are. It's 21-19 right
We
now.
get
and
it,
so
Toddy.
this-
it doesn't
this
matter.
last
I
one-
get it.
Kevin tied it just for Jaevon to get 3 straight answers. All right, so this last hint is gonna give it away. I was saying that Jaevon was getting close when he was saying Bill Russell and Kevin McHale and all these
Okay.
other Celtics great
Kareem?
big men. You said Kareem? No, that is incorrect.
Damn it.
Dr. J?
No.
So obviously the Celtic player. Keep going with the hint because we're getting off.
Celtics big man who's a Hall of Famer.
I literally said Kevin McHale.
Yeah, I
It's
thought
not Kevin McHale.
there's oh fucking
AG?
Bill Russell.
Oh, Jaevon got it.
Let's go!
The big ticket. Kevin Garnett, Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett, Gary Payton, Rudy Gobert, and Draymond Green. So just like that, Jaevon's 1-point lead skyrockets to 3 as at the end of episode 145, Jaevon has 22,
Bro,
Kevin has
thought he
19.
won.
And
He didn't announce the
There-
name. He said you got it. So I was like, okay, I just said something. It got to be me.
there it is right there. Yeah, I heard Jaevon say KG. And so just as Smooth said in the comments, there it is right there.
Hey, KG
So-
won 9?
This is getting ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game.
I didn't.
And so
And the player.
He's
I
ti-
hate the game and Toddy. So
Kevin's tired of it. But we got one final segment. But before we get there, Kevin, I know you got to get going. And so we appreciate you for joining us. And we'll see you next
All right.
week.
appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. All right, Jaevon. So before we get out of here, real quickly, we got to talk about some unfortunate news in the W. And you know that the W is my bag when it comes to the WNBA. And arguably the greatest player, I can already say this right now, the greatest player to ever lace up sneakers in the WNBA, given the impact that she has had on the game in 1+ season, Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever, is out at least for the next 2 weeks with a quad strain. And as you were saying in our pre-show meeting, tickets, the prices are dropping. They are falling off a cliff.
How long is
and
she out
so
for?
at least 2 weeks with a quad
Okay.
strain. And so in your opinion, how will this injury affect the Indiana Fever, but more specifically, how will it affect the WNBA as a whole with its growth?
Oh, yeah, I think a lot of people like to watch her play basketball. It's not even it's a fact. If we're seeing these prices that are dry, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of nice young talent coming out. Obviously, I saw Taurasi. Go Taurasi. She came out and was talking about Paige Beckers. She's formed Husky love is what's going on there. Said that she could be the best player in the WNBA, and she probably isn't wrong, because Paige Beckers is very good at basketball. But I just think the dynamic that Caitlin Clark, like people were saying that she could be $1 billion athlete. Like she's changing the trajectory of what women's basketball is. And I think with her out of it, people are going to kind of tune out a little bit. But when she is playing, I mean, man, she's electric. I was watching the game. What was the second to last game or the last game that she played in against Shaun's?
Yeah.
And
The reigning champions. The reigning champions.
On the final play they should have won that game. There was a lot of possessions that kind of just didn't go their way. Down the stretch, they were up, I believe, like 4 or 5 points, and they just kind of let the game slip away. But you can't do that with the defending champs. And when you got, ladies like Sabrina Ionescu on that team, you can't leave them hanging around. And I think that's kind of what happened. And I guess she must have gotten hurt probably before or after this game, and potentially played through injuries. So says a lot about her character. Fever going to miss her. I don't know if the Fever are on if they're kind of like favorited to win the championship. I think the Liberty were, but I think the Fever were kind of up there because Caitlin Clark has just changed the game. So a lot of people were going to pick her to win. I know that I will. She's very good at what she does, but just hold tight, WNBA. I know you're kind of, your stars players hurt. I think people were kind of taking her for granted a little bit going back to last year. And now that she's going to be out for a little bit, it's going to be like, all right, well, where's Caitlin? So a lot of hoorah about her last year and just what she is and just so much controversy. A lot of people just let her play basketball. I know people try to make it people like to get into the political side of what Caitlin Clark is and what she brings to the league, but she's just really good at basketball, and I think people are starting to pay attention because of her. And I think she's one of the best players in the league. She can win MVP this year, and this is her second year. It's how good she is. Don't want to get too much into the political side of it, but yeah, she will be missed.
Yeah,
she'll be back though.
Yeah, in regard to what you're alluding to, I mean, on the political side of things, there's a lot of people who have a lot of deep down resentment and just ugly feelings, and they're trying to turn it into a race battle between obviously Caitlin Clark, who's white, and Angel Reese, who's black, and because they had history leading back to their days in college. And as Smooth says, we still have Angel with a laughing emoji and a brick, because Angel Reese, when she played against the New York Liberty recently, she was 0 of 8 and was getting all of her own offensive rebounds. And so, for me as a big WNBA fan, I'm really sad about Caitlin's injury. But, ultimately, as long as it's not in the postseason, then I think that they'll be all right, because the Pacers, with all the additions that they had from this offseason, between DeWanna Bonner, third all-time scorer in WNBA history, Sophie Cunningham, they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, they brought in Natasha Howard, who's a defensive beast. And so the Pacers will be all right. It's just the casual fans are going to kind of fade back now that Caitlin's out for a while. But I just hope that she gets healthy. And before we get out of here on episode 145 of Stats Over Politics, cousin Marcellus, announced his arrival as he said, "Made it. I was asleep, Vonnie. Hulkamania is running wild, brother. You better believe it." And so that's going to do it for episode number 145. We appreciate your contribution as always, Marcellus. Make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It helps us a lot. And if you enjoy the podcast, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on X at Stats or Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're enjoying the show, give us those 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned into episode number 145 of Stats Over Politics. For my guys, Jaevon Toddy, Kevin Dent, Kaz Johnson, and Alex Dent, I'm your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week on another episode of Stats Over Politics.